And you know this man?
Yo, what is up? And welcome to the Making Learning Addictive show. I am your host, Brian Romero Smith. And thank you for joining the HBCU edition. I am so hyped about this particular conversation that we're about to have. Hopefully, you were able to get a little bit crunk after seeing that video from Tuskegee. I actually put that on purpose because that's where we just came from, actually doing one of our tours for my son. Preface this by saying my son will be attending an HBCU here soon. We're about to make our decision. But I wanted some insight from those who attended a prestigious university or college to talk a little bit about their experiences, the impact that it actually has on their current success. So we're going to do just that. I got some special guests that I just reached out on Twitter and folks responded. And we're going to have this nice, rich conversation specifically for Black History Month as we celebrate the traditions and the excellence of our HBCU. So let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll let them introduce themselves. We'll start at the top with Kim. Go ahead, Kim.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kimberly Worthy. I'm from Washington, D.C., and attended Spelman College. Attended Spelman in 92 and pledged Delta Sigma Theta, Eta Kappa chapter, spring 95, and had the time of my life, Spelman College. My entire family went to Howard. I was going to Howard. My mother said, "No, you're not. You're getting out of DC." And I rebelled and was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to Spelman." Da, 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 da. And but I applied because of her and got in. And because of Prospective Students Weekend in April, being on the same weekend of Freaknik, I was like, oh, okay, sign me up. So that's actually how I got to Spelman. That's terrible.
Oh my God.
That's actually how I made it to Spelman, because I was definitely going to stay at Howard. So
Tell the truth, shame the devil. That's what's up. Go ahead, Quinay.
Well, hello everyone. Brian, thanks so much for doing this. I am Quinay Jackson. I attended my Miles College class of 2006. I also am a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, fall 2003. Attending an HBCU was like my dream. Now I'm from Atlanta, so Kim, when you were like, Freaknik, like I was like, yes, here for it. But I never got to attend Freaknik because I was like 11. So by the time I was able to actually attend, but see, the Sweet Auburn Festival would happen at the same time as Freaknik. So we would go down there, but we would leave at a certain time. But attending an HBCU was something I truly wanted to do. I grew up on the south side of Atlanta, but I attended school on the north side. And you know what I mean if you know Atlanta. So my experiences were all like international. And I was like, Mommy, I want to be around some Black people, like just Black people. And so I knew that I had to attend an HBCU, and it was the best choice. I had the time of my life. I partied, I had fun, but I learned so much about what it meant to be just strong, confident, and Black.
Nice. Definitely gonna get into that. Go ahead, Kristen.
Hey friends, I'm Kristen Denise Hemingway, originally from Detroit, Michigan. I now live in Atlanta. Oh, what's up, Detroit? Originally from Detroit, Michigan, Cass Tech graduate. Don't do that. I attended Florida A&M University in 1999. I will be real. I was actually going to the University of Michigan. That's what I was about to do. I had been on Michigan's campus since like middle school. That's where I was gonna go. I wasn't gonna leave my mommy. It's my mommy. And then I met Dr. Frederick Humphreys, and he changed my life. Went to FAMU. Randomly, a lot of people from my high school went to FAMU too. So it was kind of like we went as a big group. The joys of having a large graduating class.
But trying to get out of that code.
Listen, when I realized Thanksgiving and Christmas didn't have to be cold, we choosing this? Why? But the people I've met while on the Hill, the connections I've made, literally life changing. But what I think takes it to another level, the way FAMU is still impacting my life, I meet people now, and we just know we both went to FAMU, family, friends. Literally, 4 of my closest friends right now, we were all at FAMU at the same time, but we didn't hang out then. But in adulthood, when life brings you back around, when I say their children are my nieces and nephews, my god babies, this is how I got my god babies, okay? Because of some rattlers, hear me? And my recommendation letters, I'm in a PhD program now. I have a fellowship, it's fully funded. A rattler did that for me, even though I'm currently at Georgia State, right? So it's the connections that last beyond the Hill. They last for a lifetime. And none of these people I'm mentioning right now, I wasn't close to them on the Hill, right? So it's that instant family, that instant camaraderie, that I see that orange and green. I'm in the airport. Hey, Rattler. Chick-fil-A. Hey, Rattler. And you know it's family. So, and one other thing I'm going to say really quickly. The cool thing about all of this is that it's all family, right? We all support each other. And so I support HBCUs in general, one in particular.
Appreciate that, Kristen. Go ahead, David.
Hey, thank you, fellow Noop, for the invite tonight. I'm excited to be here. David Lockett, Fisk University, class of 02. Hey, it's been amazing attending an HBCU, but I've had an illustrious career, and I owe it all to my time at Fisk. At Fisk, I was able to truly excel in biological sciences. To that day, it's led me to the Office of STEM Engagement at NASA and other things. I look back on my time at Fisk, and you've got, Tennessee State University down the street. You have Meharry Medical College across the street. I'm currently working with Meharry now, but I would never have envisioned that at my time at Fisk. So, I look back on all the connections I made. I look back on, fraternity connections, on everything, every experience. You have to truly, engage and make sure that every experience is fulfilled. So, looking back on that time, I'm, jubilant. I took that opportunity at Fisk and I ran with it. So every time I get the opportunity, to talk about my experience and share that with others and pass it on, I say, hey, what can we do? Why is science important? So I truly learned that at Fisk, and hey, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Charles.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm glad I can go out to Mr. David doing the full PR advertisement for his wonderful school. I'm Charles Randolph. I went to the great and wonderful University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. We like to make sure we say that Eastern Shore part because a lot of times people cut you off as soon as you say University of Maryland. They automatically think about College Park. So we like to emphasize the great UMES. My major was Family and Consumer Sciences, which is human ecology. So I was one of the only males in my department studying a whole thing about human ecology, campus life, loved it. Just like everybody else, many people say on the panel, a lot of my neighborhood went to Eastern Shore. And then also too, when I was looking at colleges, I think one of the great moments for me was with my father. We went down there for a tour and my father said, "This is the most beautiful green grass I've ever seen. And you're going down here." He said, "This is a nice, beautiful, clean campus." And it was small and the sense of family. Um, Best moments I've had so far over the years was when you went to the campus and went to your class and the dean, Dr. Parker, which is the dean of human ecology at that time, would say, "Brother Randolph, you were 5 minutes late for class," or "How your project?" So I guess that closeness with the deans and with the teachers and professors was something just astonishing for me. And the camaraderie with everybody. I didn't realize it till I took my daughter on a college campus tour this summer, that the campus is only 2,000 students. And when we were down there, class of 99, it felt like it was over 100,000 people. So just that sense of togetherness, but everybody helping each other out and that brother and sisterhood, no matter what ethnicity, what race you were, that impacted me going down there and staying down there and supporting it.
That's beautiful, man. Appreciate that, Charles. Go ahead, Natasha.
All right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Natasha Rachel. I'm all for the, I've heard the PhD, so I had to throw it in there. Good luck to you on your journey, Kristen. I'm a proud graduate of Morris Brown College, class of 1999. I was on the 5-year program. So I'm from Southern California and came all the way to Atlanta. The first time I stepped foot on Morris Brown College's campus was the day that I was dropped off to college. Didn't come and tour it. And being from Southern California, we have no HBCUs on the West Coast. And if I'm being 100% completely transparent, didn't know what a HBCU was until I watched A Different World. My mom is from England. My father is from Jamaica. They didn't go to college. And so college to us was like UCLA, big schools, USC, UCLA, schools like that. And so my senior year of high school, I have a twin brother who is also a Kappa. Probably around like February or March when we started to realize like, hey, we're about to graduate. What are we going to do with our lives? We just, for some reason, Atlanta popped into mind. I remember we were watching, this is going to sound so crazy, Boys in the Hood. And at the end of Boys in the Hood, Brandy went to Spelman.
And he went to Morehouse. Yeah.
And so, of course, in my mind, I was like, well, let me look at what this Spelman thing is all about. And when I realized it was an all-girl school, no shade. I was like, oh, I don't know. But of course, they start sending you all the pamphlets about the AUC. And so we found out about Clark Atlanta. And so I filled out my application and his because he was real lazy. And we got in and we found out that the youngest twin, which would be me because we're twins, would only have to pay half tuition. Well, then we kept doing the research, found out about Morris Brown right around the corner. And the youngest twin at Morris Brown did not have to pay any tuition.
Oh.
Yes. And so HBCUs looking out for family. And so that was the no-brainer decision for us. And so my mom and us and my little brother flew all the way to Atlanta and she dropped us off and we all cried tears of joy and sadness at the same time. And they got on a plane and went back to California. Morris Brown College changed my life. I met my husband at Morris Brown. I had my first son at Morris Brown. I had him while I was there and I would go to class and my friends who turned family would babysit on the yard while I was in biology class. And speaking, I think that was Charles that said how small the schools are. I remember Dr. Durajai would call me every Friday, Saturday night and say on my answering machine, why aren't you in your room studying for your test that you have tomorrow? So changed my life. Honored to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you, Natasha. Appreciate that. Ashley.
Hello, everybody. I am a 2007 graduate from the Hampton University, the real HU. In case anybody's wondering, love Howard, but I mean, you may be first, but you're not the real. Just putting that out there. But I absolutely loved Hampton. So I'm one of those rare unicorns. I wanted to major in marine and environmental science. There's only one HBCU that has that. So I went to Hampton, and just like your experience, my first time stepping on Hampton's campus was when my mom and dad flew us up there. And I'm from North Texas, and so I grew up in a predominantly white, K through 12. I may have been one of two, and so going to an HBCU to me was a dream. Both of my parents went to Grambling, so I grew up going to Grambling games, going to Grambling PV games. So I was like all about Tiger Pride. Then I had to turn into a pirate. But HBCUs for me and my family is like a legacy. My sister also went to Grambling. Then she went to PV for grad school. But going to Hampton and knowing that there's a small, very small percentage of Black women and men who want to be marine scientists and get in the water. We was in the rivers and the mud and getting dirty, but there was still a place for us on a campus where we were looking like each other. Now, everybody else on campus was probably looking at us like we're crazy, getting dirty and in the water, but it was an experience that gave us so many things. We went to Hawaii for free. I went to Florida for free. We went so many places because there's so many experiences and connections with your professors at an HBCU that you're going to get there that you might not or probably won't get anywhere else, because your professors, whether they're white, Black, Hispanic, doesn't matter, they are there for you and to support you. So there's no other school that would have done what Hampton did for me.
So are you, supporting that theory that Black folks don't swim by saying that there's only one HBCU with that marine?
Listen,
that program.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle. Like I was supposed to go to FAM, and then because they had environmental, but nobody was in the water, But we were able to, get on boats, and we even went up to Humes to do some research. So
that's what's up. Love it, love it. All right, last but not least, Robert.
Good evening, everyone. I am really enjoying this conversation, and transparency. My son, who's a sophomore in high school, is actually listening, so he's enjoying this as well. Robert Bryant, colleague of Brother Brian Smith here, proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I attended Xavier University of Louisiana and a 96 graduate. So I feel I'm a little bit older than most of you, but that's okay. My brother is a fellow Rattler Christian. My parents are graduates of Alabama State University. I have cousins that went to Alabama A&M. I have a younger cousin that got her PharmD, Ashley from Hampton, about 2 or 3 years ago. So HBCU life is just been a part of our lineage as far as I can remember. But what can I say? I mean, everything that everyone has already said on this call is true. The professors truly care about you. You're not a number. Kristen, like you, from Detroit, I went to UD Jesuit. So, I got a lot of friends that are cast technicians. I'm not even gonna go there. So, the life was just, you get on the yard and I'm trying to see, Moore's Natasha and Kim, my first experience of Freaknik was, what can I say? It was the bomb. But then, all of my folks from Jackson State, Spelman, Morehouse, they would come and crash at my pad for the Mardi Gras, So we won't go into them stories. That was another life back then. But I was a psychology major. Went down there initially as biology pre-med, and unfortunately, organic chemistry took me out that real quick. I was like, no, this is not for a brother right here, you know. So I ended up in psychology and got my master's, came back home, got my master's from Wayne State University in information systems, and UD Mercy, the whole nine. But I don't know what else to say. I mean, as I encourage my son as he's getting all like you, Brian, we're getting flooded by information right now. And, you know, my son goes to a predominantly white school. My son's over at Krista, you're familiar. He's over at Cranbrook. And the one thing he said to me is like, Daddy, I'm sick of these white folks. I'm ready to go, you know. And I'm like, well, son, you got options, you know. You know, so with what you're doing now is the same thing that I'm preparing to do in the next year or two. Have him to look at everything. I said, I want you to get both sides. So we're going to take a trip to the AUC when the students are in class. And then we go mosey on down to FAM for homecoming. I don't want you to get lost in the mix of what goes on at the HBCUs. I want, because just like we sending you to high school for this education, I'm sending you to college for this education so you get out my pocket quick. I'll share one last story. I think the height of my career at Xavier was the fact that I had W.E.B. Du Bois' granddaughter as one of my professors. And you talking about remarkable. I mean, I didn't miss her class at all. And, you know, to hear the stories of, you know, growing up in Harlem, being a part of that Harlem Renaissance era with her grandfather, you just can't, you know, it's priceless. Those are just priceless memories.
That's what's up, man. Robert, appreciate that. You know, I'm circling back to there's a common theme with a lot of what all were saying, which is important for me as my son, you know, is not listening, but he will be a part of this later on. It's not the Freaknik thing. I don't need him to hear about any of that, you know, not right about now. But it's that family-oriented environment, which being at a very large high school, you know, 4,500 students, you're a number, and that's just as big as some HBCUs, you know, that are out there. But my concern as we were visiting these campuses was, will he be able to feel like he's at home? Will he feel like he is protected, but also cared for, but also supported? What would you say to a young man that's looking for those particular traits in an HBCU?
So
Go ahead, anybody.
Okay, cool. So a couple things. Robert, you brought up something with your son being at Cranbrook. Funny enough, I have a friend who graduated from FAM who went to Cranbrook and Detroit Country Day. So let's see if we can get that connection and have some conversations. But one of the things I will say, I have a friend from FAMU, one of my dear sister friends, and she is also in education. And when people talk about their children being at predominantly white schools, even in their K-12 experience, and like, why go to HBCUs? One of the things she had said that has always stuck with me is, you don't train soldiers on the battlefield, right? Where else in life at this point do you get to go and be in a place where you are not an elective, but you are the culture, you are the curriculum, right? My psychology was Black psychology, right? That was our baseline. My philosophy was Black philosophy. Math, no matter what class it was, no matter what I was studying, I didn't have to take African American history to hear about Black people. I heard about Black people in everything I did. My professor spoke German in the business program. I don't have to see anybody that doesn't look like me succeeding. I know what Black excellence is because I see it embodied at every single turn. And in particular, for me with FAMU, one of the things that was super dope about it, we had Dean Sybil Mobley. If you don't know about Dr. Sybil Mobley, go ahead and find out, right? And all the things she did in the business world. But she had these Fortune 100 companies and these Fortune 500 companies clamoring to get her students. And I remember you know, those study sessions, right? I remember people feeding each other when you didn't have money. I remember, I actually told that story today in a presentation I gave. There was a summer we spent together on the Hill. It was a group of us. We kind of randomly came together around my birthday, which is in April. And that summer, you know, everybody had kind of just not enough money, right? You're going to survive, but what you eat every day. And there was this understanding that we all got paid at different times from the work that we were doing. And so it wasn't, do I have enough for me? It was, do we have enough for us? And as a result, we all made it through that summer with whatever you needed, food, medicine, ride. Somebody had it and they made sure that you had it too. And that was the summer my car broke down. And I'll never forget, I had a job and it was on the other side of Tallahassee. Every day I got dropped off at work and every day I got picked up. I didn't know going into the day who was going to do either, but there was always a car ready when I needed to go. Right? That's family. They don't get no more family than that. There was always food to eat. There was always a place to stay. There was always somewhere to go for the holidays if you can't go home. They mama, that's my mama too. Right? You got Mama Brown. You got Mama Smoot. You have these people who are really treating you like their children, who are investing in you and loving on you. And you really do get added to so many families. Like, I'm fortunate for the relationship I have with my mom, but I am so grateful for all the other mamas that have loved me, hugged me, held me, supported me, celebrated me, even if my mama couldn't in the moment.
So that
I don't know people other places getting all of that the same way. I just don't.
That warms my heart. Go ahead, Quinay.
I was just going to also add to that, Kristen, that the sense of community that you get when you're at an HBCU, you're seen in a way that you don't get seen when you're in a different environment, because everyone is there for the same and specific purpose of having the culture feed everything that you're doing. So if he's looking for a place where he can feel like he belongs, especially when you get into your major, you're not going to have 100,000 other people that professors have to be concerned about. You're going to be in an environment when you're in your major where people are looking for specific opportunities for what you're interested in. I spent a summer at Duke University doing a fellowship with, it was a Ralph Bunche fellowship because I did political science. That came to me because the professors who I worked with knew my specific interests, and they might have had 2 or 3 kids who they were dealing with, not a whole roster of 50. When I was working on my master's at a PWI, I never met my advisor. I do not know what she looks like. I never met her. But at an HBCU, you're in sort of a cocoon. And so you're just loved for, you're cared for, and it literally is like when that butterfly emerges from that chrysalis, you've been prepared to fly in a way that you just wouldn't receive in other places.
Love that. Go ahead.
You want to jump in, Ashley?
Yeah, just real quick. So just speaking on family, it doesn't take a semester to feel like a family. When I went to Hampton, within a month, first, like I said, I'm from North Texas. Within a month, there was Hurricane Isabel coming my freshman year. I had just met my roommate. Now, thank God she was great. We were actually roommates all 4 years, which I know was very rare. But within a month, I'm like, so I'm supposed to stay on campus with the hurricane coming? I'm from Texas. We just get a little bit of rain, maybe a tornado. Her mom, she's from North Carolina, came and picked us up. I didn't know her mom. I never met her daddy either. And like took us. So you now have me in your house. I just met your daughter and you took care of me in the midst of an actual storm. Like I didn't have to stay in the gym that lost power or campus lost trees, but I was immediately adopted by a family, by my roommate's family, because they wanted to make sure that we were both safe together.
I think actually you mentioned something, right then and there. In 92 was when Andrew hit New Orleans, and never been in a hurricane before. I mean, I'm from the D. We get snow, but nothing like that. And that was supposed to be the one that was supposed to take New Orleans out. And being able to go with at that time my line brothers, and we traveled to Baton Rouge to one of my line brothers' homes, and I mean, it was like his family just took us in, and my parents calling, hey, you okay? Everything, it was great. But the sense of community, Brian, that your son would get from an HBCU is it's in a lot of ways, unless you've been through it, it's hard to describe. But I ended up at Xavier. I was originally headed to either Howard or FAM. That's where I really had my mind set on it. And the way I ended up at Xavier, the dean of admissions, my dad was his dean of pledges at Bama State. And he looked at my information and he called my dad and he was like, my dad's line name was Rock. He said, is this the Robert Bryant that went to Alabama State? My dad's like, yeah, who is this? He was like, this is Dean Winston Brown. And my dad was like, you got to be kidding me. He was like, yeah, I'm looking at your son's stuff here. And is he interested in going to Xavier? He said, well, it's on his list, And after that conversation, my dad came home and was like, pack your bags.
You going?
I'm like, oh, okay. For real? But to be able to go, like Krista said, to be able to go to your advisor, that is priceless. I mean, I would literally sit up probably in my advisor's office and just being able to chop it up with your advisor and your professors. They were all really, really cool, willing to help you out. Within a week, I mean, my younger brother, he was like 3 or 4, when my parents dropped me off. And that's like the first time I like cried because we're that close, even though we're far apart in age. But within a week, I made friends from Chicago, New York, Texas, and we were just all cool. And it was a different environment. And I mean, we really didn't have ATMs and all this stuff that these kids had now. It was, you get that money order in the mail, once a month,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you had to make that little money stretch.
Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to say, and I'm just going to bring it back to like our expectations and what we expect when we go to HBCUs. And I'm going to just bring up a concept called white supremacy, right? When we think of white supremacy, we think of white people, right? And how they view us. And we don't really think about how we have internalized white supremacy ourselves as Black people.
Okay.
And because we have, as a culture, as a people, we have low expectations of our own people. And so it becomes a shock. It becomes a shock for what we see at HBCUs. So everything that everybody is describing is Black culture. Everything that everybody is describing is Black excellence. It's cultural competence. That's what we do to be excellent. It's the support. These are the systems that we put in place to make sure everyone succeeds. And there's nothing abnormal about it. This is what Black excellence is. You won't get it at a PWI. So Harvard charging $75,000 a year is simply because of its name. It's not because of excellence. Spelman, it's $40,000 a year? Definitely deserves $75,000. Because my daughter is getting excellence. Excellence. Her program, health science pre-med major track at Spelman, the bomb. The bomb. Every single thing that they put in place at Spelman right now for her to succeed is Black excellence. all of the support systems, every single thing, but it's Black culture. But because we're so like, oh, white people do this, Harvard does this, Yale does this, they don't do none of that.
Mm.
They don't. If we go there, we'll sink. It's nothing they do. They don't do none of that. Everything we do is excellent.
I would also like to say, fam, you beat Harvard in the case competition. So just, I just want to add that.
Hey, where's my preacher soundbite right there?
And then
I just want to, because when people love to bring up Ivy Leagues and they love to do this comparison, you know, Rattlers walk a certain way. I'll say that. And we're not the only ones, but I'm talking about my personal experience. Yeah. And I had someone tell me, oh, y'all think y'all Harvard. I said, Harvard wishes they were us.
Right.
We don't think we know we're FAMU. You've never heard a Rattler claiming Harvard.
No.
I ain't met one. You haven't heard me say I've had something like an Ivy League experience. I'm Ivy League-ish. No. I know where I went, and I'm proud of where I went. And where I went is why I am where I am. And let's keep in mind, we're in the same room.
Well,
I'm
and I would also kind
of with a better experience, and I'm in the same room, more prepared than you. I can run circles.
Way more prepared. Way more.
I say I'm a track star in these rooms because of the preparation I have. And this is my last thing. And then I really want to say, and then give it to Natasha because she's been trying, Dr. Natasha. Bless your heart. But this is the last thing I'm going to say about this. I work in education now. I'm studying in education. And there's this concept of cognitive load, right? Mm-hmm. Your brain can only have so much in it at one time. What happens when you free up brain space from having to deal with white supremacy? What can you actually achieve, create, and do when you're not worried about what you have to try to prove? On that campus, I don't have to prove that I'm excellent. I'm there because I'm excellent. Yes. Excellence is the baseline. It's not even the expectation. It's the baseline. We start at excellence. Where do we go from here? Because I'm not worried about if my professor is racist. I'm not fighting this microaggression. I don't have a roommate calling the police on me because they don't remember my face. And am I supposed to be here? I'm not having anybody question my existence in this space. The space was made for me to exist in it. What can our children achieve when they get to free up their brain space from dealing with, considering, and handling the weight of white supremacy in their world? What do you get to learn? How do you dream now that your dream just isn't safety? Yep. When you're dreaming of safety, when you're dreaming of acceptance, when you're dreaming of being called on, there are other dreams that you never get to dream. But when I don't have to dream about those things because they're guaranteed, what do I now become? I become Dr. Kristen Denise Hemingway.
That's what's up.
Hashtag that part to
right, exactly.
I want to bring it just back to a personal experience. A couple of things. So when somebody was talking about not having to worry about a meal or a ride somewhere, being from California and coming to college in Atlanta, you didn't go home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. You had to pick one of the two. Mm-hmm. People weren't, plane tickets weren't, $59 Southwest back then. Right. And so it was always Christmas. And so I can't tell you how many random people's houses that I ended up for Thanksgiving and Easter and spring break even. Like it is crazy just how it all falls into place. Being at Morris Brown, we could also cross-register and take classes anywhere in the AUC or at Georgia State. And so I took biochemistry at Georgia State. When I walked into that lecture hall, I kid you not, I stopped dead in my tracks. I went from being in an intimate classroom at Morris Brown for all of my classes to this huge lecture hall with hundreds of people. And I sat in the back corner chair and I miserably failed that biochemistry class. I'm not even going to lie. I had to retake it. It was miserable. The teacher didn't know me. I didn't know the professor. I didn't know anybody else in the class. I didn't feel comfortable asking anybody for help because I was one of a few in the class. And when you speak about family, and then I have to tell this story. So back in 2016, my twin brother was in a car accident. In Southern California, and horrific car accident. his fraternity brothers, shout out to the Beta Delta Kappas at Morris Brown College, his fraternity brothers sent me, I don't know how they found my number, sent me a text message and said, we have a plane ticket ready for you. When do you need to leave? I mean, the support, they were sending my mom gift cards and food and people she had never met before, who now she like thinks they're all her sons. It's hilarious. But the support from people that you've never met, that you don't know, people that just were reaching out. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Like even when I left to go to California to be with them for weeks on end, people asking me, how can I support your husband and your kids that you just like got up and deserted for weeks on end? So there's absolutely nothing like it. Speaking to just the level of excellence that comes out of HBCUs. I mean, I feel like I'm just repeating what everybody else has said, but it is like my heart is so full right now because we don't have these conversations enough. We don't engage in this conversation enough. My son is a senior in high school this year too, and we're going through the same thing. So we took him to Morehouse a couple months ago, and it was the day that there was a big freshman something going on, and he saw the Spelman Mahogany in Motion girls, and he was like, I'm going here. So anyway, we're looking at Tuskegee and some other places as well. We'll actually be in Baton Rouge tomorrow for a visit. So yeah, I co-sign everything everybody said. He's at a predominantly white high school now, and it is stressful and draining, and to have to think about not only being good in school but being true to who he is hard, and it's draining. So I'm excited for the possibility of him being able to go and be the baseline, right? I think that's so important.
Something like that for me was so enlightening. It was, to me, growing up in the suburbs of Dallas, I was very ignorant to the different types of Black. In little Louisville, Texas, we was all same type of Black, right? Like, and so going to Hampton, I'm like, oh my God, I got friends from Jamaica, Queens, people from Jersey. We met somebody from Alaska, and I was like, there's Black people in Alaska. And, you know, you got your Afro-Caribbean, you know, Afro-Latinos, you know, just understanding we are also not a monolith. We have our own diverse cultures, and you learn so much, so many different types of dances and everything. I'm like, I'm just going to tell you, Texas is like 10 years behind everybody. They're still really excited about the Dougie. And I'm like,
I don't know about that. I'm in Texas. Come on now.
I love them. I'm here. But it's just, you learn about how different we are. Because, you know, when you're just in a small community surrounded by whiteness, you got to all be the same, right? Like we got to bond together, you know, but when you go and it's just all us, you get to just be free and just be who your parents were, your uncles and your grandmas, and just live in their culture, and you don't have to hide anymore. And it was exhausting to hide for 18 years, and you finally go to an HBCU and you just get to breathe. Finally. And then, you know, after 4 or 5 years, you come back into the real world, but that experience forever changes your life. Your friends will be your friends for a lifetime. I got a group of 10 girls. We call ourselves the Terrific 10. We still in the group text. And we graduated over 13 years ago now. Like, those bonds will not break because you have lived, they have seen you at your best and at your worst and picked you off the ground and was with you in the club. All of the same, you know, and you just live through it all.
Gotcha. Love it. Charles, I know you wanted to say something earlier.
No, just kind of comment everybody else was saying too. I think a big difference or impact was what I call the push for HBCUs, that you're going to get pushed to be the best that I've seen. And it's just one of those, it's not a physical push, there's no kind of harassment. It's just one of the ones you're going to look at the other friends, your other brothers, your other sisters, and they're going to push you. The professors, the admin, they're going to push, because I think the big difference, and I could say it going from undergrad to master's degree, was the fact that, like I said before, the professors, the staff at HBCU, they're going to push you. They know you can be better than what you are. And they're going to push you that whole time you're at the HBCU to do that. versus you're not just a number, you're not just a data, you're not just a statistic, you are an actual person that's moving on. And I think also too, a lot of times those side comments from those wonderful professors and teachers, particularly when you get to that junior and senior year, they say, hey, you know, you did this. I know you can do a little bit better than what you just did, or you got the potential. Kind of almost like a sensei kung fu master that's training you. All those years you got prepped, all those years, especially from those professors that saw you as not doing as well your freshman year, to all of a sudden you helping the other freshmen, other classmates come in. So that push was a big thing that I highly recommend for HBCU. And just being a male and hanging out with, I didn't do a fraternity, but I had a lot of brothers and sisters that we all came from the same area of Prince George's County in the DMV area. And that was a big culture shift for us because Prince George's County in the DC area is predominantly African American. So to drive 2.5 hours to the Eastern Shore, where it was a whole new world. So I was kind of opposite. I was born and raised with seeing African American middle class, upper middle class. Then I went to UMES, which was one of the lowest income counties in Maryland. So that was a total opposite. And it was also, again, on the Eastern Shore. So I was used to seeing middle class, upper middle class, AKA, like we said, a different world for me was going 2.5 hours. So that was insightful right there. But camaraderie, you can't just beat. And being able to help somebody out when you say, I don't have $5, and you're going to give it to somebody, and it's your last $5, say, hey, you take this. You got me next time. You don't get that at a lot of schools, but you definitely get it at HBCU.
Well, I definitely didn't get that at my PWI. Nah.
And to Charles's point, the push doesn't end in those 4 years. The push, I know with my sorors, like especially Eta Kappa, my God, that pressure stays forever. We are constantly pushing each other and to be the best we could be. So I know that push that you're talking about. So the push from my professors, but also the push from each other to be the best we can be. And I absolutely love that.
So my chemistry teacher at Morris Brown I work in education, was actually he became a chemistry teacher after Morris Brown went through its challenges in the district that I worked in. And so when you talk about the push, here I am teaching science to, all these different science classes to high school students and running into him at professional developments and him still pushing me all these years later because he taught me chemistry years ago and he wrote the textbook that he taught from. So, there's no excuses. I remember I missed a homework assignment in his class once and he was like, that's okay. Where do you live? And here I am thinking, oh, I'm going to tell him where I live, but he's going to live like way over there. And I told him where I lived. And he said, that's right around the corner from my house. Go home and get the homework assignment and leave it on my doormat. And I had to go home and get the homework assignment and leave it on his doormat. So the push doesn't stop.
And when you all speak about that push, it made me just think about the richness and the rigor of the classroom discussions. That's where, for me, I can go into a room. I know how to defend my point. I know how to identify the evidence. I know how to speak to you without raising my voice or using any type of word that you're not going to find in a children's book. But I can speak you and get you to where you need to be, because when I sat in those classrooms, the level of discussions that we would have, you are not just going to say something. If you're saying something, you've got to have several pieces of evidence to back it up. It was a rigorous learning experience that we engaged in. And because it was so small, like I was a political science major, there were like 4 teachers. So I had this professor multiple times in the day. So I cannot just bring anything from anywhere. It was this experience where I am immersed in like a learning tank where I've got to make sure I'm bringing it. And if you're not bringing it, you might as well just stay home, because there are no excuses and there's no half stepping. You have to come ready because there's a level of excellence that is demonstrated in those classrooms. It was my experience that has prepared me for life in general. If I'm talking to someone at the power company, or if I'm speaking to a colleague who's out of line in my profession, those are the experiences that have equipped me to be successful in those conversations.
Okay.
Per my last email, I really feel like it started at FAMU. Hear me? Because
I was made for
like,
this.
listen, this documentation piece is real, but also what I want to say is I want people to start looking up. We always, when we talk about Black excellence, we feel like we have to go way far back, right?
Right.
And with this being Black History Month, hear me, I'm Queen Black History. I've had stellar Black History education my entire education. The coolest part for me with Black History Month now is that we're talking about my friends. I don't have to go 20, 30, 40 years ago. I can go to last week when two of my friends from FAMU were their son one-time Kid of the Year, because the excellence continues. I can talk about my homeboy who's a C-suite executive, at a Fortune 100 company. I can talk about the owner of the #1 consulting firm in the state of Georgia who graduated from FAMU. I can talk about the former mayor of Atlanta. I can talk about the mayor of Minneapolis, St. Paul. I can we ain't gotta go far back. We don't have to go years and years ago. I could talk about my soon-to-be governor in the state of Georgia.
Okay, okay.
We gonna do that work. Georgia turned blue because something was stolen from her, and because of what she learned in her education at Spelman, she said, "I got you. You won't steal nothing else." Right? So we have who we have in office now because something was stolen from her, but what she learned and what was instilled in her, and that pride and that understanding that you don't have to concede if you know it wasn't fair, and you don't have to sit down and hide because you didn't get what you wanted the first time. Right? You keep going, you keep pushing. You messed it up for me, but you won't mess it up for nobody else. If they could have stolen in 2020, they would have. We learn, we grow, we move forward. That's current Black excellence. This is Black history in the making. The kids that are in these schools now, Target. I love Target. Who don't love Target, right? Target has everything. The designs for the Black History collection, those students came from HBCUs. One of them came from FAMU, right? So that's the cool part. You don't have to point your children to what happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. We can talk about what happened last week. And it's always looking like them. These are people who you could have been in high school with. These are your future classmates. And it is this culture of collaboration, not competition, right? I'm at the top and I need you here with me. Sit next to me at the top. It's not a place where only one of us can win, right? And a lot of these other environments, people get caught up in being the one. If it's only room for one, it's going to be me. But when the whole top look like me, come join us. Sit down, take a seat, grab some tea. The air up here is nice, right? I'll give you my notes. I'll introduce you to my contact. The number of things I have today because of Rattler, I got an additional scholarship this semester because of Rattler slid into my inbox. Proud of what you did last semester. Apply for this. It covered the extra fees that my original scholarship didn't cover. That's somebody who I've not had a conversation with in 20 years. But that is the love, that is the support, that is the connection that does not end. It is something to be the curriculum. It is something to be the culture. It is something to be the focus. I can thrive anywhere I go. I'm at Georgia State killing it. I'm having a grand time. We winning over here, right? And in every round because of what happened on the Hill. And because of the support that continues to come based on what happened on the Hill, right? You can literally put me anywhere and I'm a win.
I'm convinced. I'm convinced. David, you've been sitting there in the middle, man. Quiet, man.
Hey, I was going to add, listening to all these different indicators and these different pieces, I can always say that identity was what brought me to an HBCU. I came to undergrad, not really a clue on what I wanted to do for a future, but I looked at Fisk, and I experienced, identity. We were able to, visit the Edmund Pettus Bridge, do outreach there. We were able to, truly achieve in ways that, were just outstanding to me. So, but, looking at an HBCU, those are the biggest factors to me, identity and achievement. what are you there for? What are you looking to do? Where are you going? Those are some of the questions that I had when I first went, and I joined a fraternity, and of course, achievement is a pillar, but the main thing is identity. Who am I? Who am I trying to be? And how are those around me help me achieve that goal? So that's something, that I looked at, through an ongoing process. And, to this day, so when you look at HBCUs, you look at all these different universities, think about that, what is your identity? Where are you going? What are you trying to do? Who are you trying to become? Because that's truly what it's about. You're on a lifelong path to learning, and, you're trying to do something different. You want to achieve as much as you can. You want to find that path that's right for you. So that's kind of the route that I took.
When I went to Spelman, I was a bio pre-med major, and science was math and science were always my favorite subjects, and so I went that route. And just a little bit of background. I attended an African-centered school from the age of 3 to middle school here in DC called Roots. And after the Black Power movement, there were all these African-centered schools that emerged around the country. And DC had Ujima, Roots, Watoto. And so I went to Roots. And then I went to Catholic school for middle school. And then I went to this progressive white school for high school. So I took a course over at Morehouse called African Psychology with Dr. Timothy Moore. And we're sitting there, we're reading this article by Dr. Edwin Nichols, and it was called the Cultural Reference for Teaching Black Children. So we're reading this article, and it says the epistemological styles for teaching Black children, the axiology or the values of Black children, the logic systems of Black children. And it's giving all these examples. And I'm reading it and I'm like, hold up. This is how I was taught at this African Center school I attended. And it was so different than public schools. And I was like, yo, I got examples for this. I got like real life examples for how all this stuff works. And so I blurted out how, axiology, the number one value for Black people is relationships. Logic system, we go from the whole first and then break it down, versus European people dichotomize everything, good, bad, right, wrong. You go from the parts to the whole, and Black people see the whole thing first. And kinesthetic, our learning styles, kinesthetic, rhythm. That's why we're always doing the rhythm and da-da-da-da-da. We learn by symbols. And if you look at the ancient Egyptians, you see all the symbols. So I was like, this is how they taught me at Roots. And so after that, I just started reading all this stuff about education. And I was like, yo, I know how to teach people. I know how to teach our kids. Put me in a classroom. I got it. So I took this one article and how I was taught at Roots, went into the classroom, wrote my own curriculum. Bam. And I got into the classroom. I didn't need any classroom management skill, nothing. I was like, I got it. And then my first year teaching, I got Teacher of the Year. Like, I was like, oh, I got the prescription. I know what to do. I know it. I know it. I know it. This is it. And that was it for me. And in my whole career, I was like, this is it. I know what to do. And I knew exactly what the problem was in public schools. I was like, yo, we're teaching the brain the wrong way. Yo, this is wrong. The African mind is so different. And I just put it all together. But all it took was this one little thing. And I was like, yo, I found my path. I found it just like that. That's simple. In that African psychology course. And it taught me about our brains and my whole career has been my trajectory has been off the charts. And I've been writing curriculum and it has worked. And everybody's like, I got an offer to get a free PhD down at University of South Florida. I went down there and I was sitting in the classroom and they would teach me this stuff. And I'm like, I can't do it. This is not right. Like it's wrong. I can't sit here. I'm sorry. This is not right. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Sorry. And my mom would be like, yo, just get the free PhD. I'm like, what? This is wrong. It's not right. It's not going to teach my kids. It's not right. But so I dropped out. But yeah. But HBCUs, yo, they're for us.
All right. Well, then convince those that are still listening. And Kristen, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to drop it down to 3. 3 to 5 words to influence someone to attend an HBCU. Go.
I would say, Brian, we all talked about the culture. The other thing that was somewhat hidden, and I think it may have been Chris, it may have been you, Kim, that said something around curriculum.
Robert, if we were playing a game, man, you would lose right now.
Yeah, I know.
5 words.
I'm sorry, but when you talk about the curriculum, your child is going to graduate on time.
Okay.
I'm done.
Child graduate. Curriculum. Your child will graduate. That's more than 3 to 5 words, but I'll take it though. All right, give me somebody else.
I've got my 3. And there's 2 of them are going to be hyphenated, Brian. Just bear with me.
Cheating.
The first one is life-changing.
Okay.
The second one is culture. And the third one is forever family.
Dope. All right. I'll give you that. All right. Next.
I got it, hater.
Okay.
No, look. Go where you're centered. Go where you're centered.
Love it.
Yes.
Okay. What you got? What else?
I'll jump in. Family, education, and legacy.
Ooh.
Love that L word right there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wrote mine down. I've got voice, validation, and culture. I think I tweeted mine out last night when I was thinking about it. Those 3 really sum it up for me. Voice, validation, and culture.
Love it.
Mm.
Okay, I got that middle row right here.
Hey, I can add in knowledgeable, lettered, and scholarly.
Yes.
Sweet. All right. Come on, Texas.
Okay, so I'm all about alliteration, even though I was a chemistry teacher, but peace, passion, and purpose. I found all 3 at a HBCU.
Wow.
Wait, I don't.
Yeah, you the last one.
I don't have my. Wait. Love, legacy,
Loyalty.
Ooh, loyalty. Ooh, I love that. Yes.
That's what I heard a lot from all y'all stories.
I love that.
I'm an emotional guy, so some of it was almost bringing me to tears. Knowing just from hearing from your experiences, your stories, and how it's propelled you, in today's world, and how you feel more prepared than you would ever have felt going somewhere else. As a dad, being a dad is the most important thing to me in this world, and I feel like I can feel confident allowing my son to step foot on the HBCU campus and knowing without a doubt that he'll be well taken care of and he will find himself. He'll find his people, and he'll learn to love his culture in a way that he would not get, anywhere else. I thank you for this time. So here's what I'm going to do. Y'all have your own devices. Can you look up to where the show is being streamed? So it's streamed on Facebook. I think I sent a link. I'm not sure, whatever it is, because I want to add you to this giveaway. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I didn't do a very good job of talking about my sponsor. Please, y'all forgive me, but I have to do this because one of the things that I also want my son to experience as he's going to join one of the bands is travel. I want him to be exposed to what else is out there in the world. And as we know, on a lot of yards, the band, is everything. It's everything. So I'm excited about that. So here's what I want y'all folks to do. Those that are still watching, and those that are here right now, I'm going to pull up a screen here real quick. And what I want you to do from whatever chat that you are viewing from, go ahead and simply type in the hashtag HBCU. Just type in the hashtag HBCU. And what we'll do is somebody said loving the alliteration that y'all had going on. Type in HBCU, and then what we'll do is we'll do a quick drawing, and then we'll hook you up with Top Travel to see if we can get you a nice, wonderful getaway going for you. Yes.
Where are you streaming on
Where are
Facebook?
you?
You didn't tell
Okay.
us to look up on Facebook.
Oh, gosh, I know I should have given to y'all as well. How about that? Let's do this. I see one person in there, HBCU. I'll put it in our chat. How about that? In our private chat.
Okay.
Are you all on LinkedIn? Now, do you all have LinkedIn? I'm asking y'all a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
I just posted, I think, on the LinkedIn.
Okay. What I'm going to do is give you that link. Then you can pull in there. Oops. All right. There's a link for you guys. You guys can click on. I see a couple of entries in there. HBCU. I see Quinay in there. There you go. Natasha's in there as well on Facebook.
Lord.
Yeah, the Lord is good. Lord is good.
Let the old lady figure out. Hold on.
It is all good. Did I share that screen here?
Man.
All right, there got a couple of entries in there. HBCU. I'm gonna add this to the stream because we'll do a drawing to give away. How about that? You see that on the screen now? All right, we'll give 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Not in.
You're not in? Who said that? Kim, you said that?
Because this is my shoot.
I don't have a beat button right now.
This is my whatchamacallit computer, so I'm not programmed on this thing.
It's all good. While that is coming up, let's see if I can do it this way here as well. I'm going to show y'all where my son is deciding to go to school. You ready for this? I'm going to just go ahead and make his announcement now for everybody to see.
We need a drum roll.
As you can see, my handsome son right there. This is where he's going to take his talent.
Drum roll.
Texas Southern University, the Oceans of Soul.
Okay.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, it's not working for me.
Okay, I love you like a play cousin, but I'm gonna have to do this drawing so we can get up off this air. All right, so check it out. Let's see here who we got, and Brother Brian.
Wow, that's what's
Brother
up.
Brian.
That is what's up. Wow.
I will put you in connection with Top Travel, so we can actually get you a vacation, get you out of that cold in Detroit.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, my brother. I definitely appreciate it. That's what's up.
Not a problem. I want to thank you guys, for real, for joining us today. The conversation has been extremely enriching for me, very beneficial for us, as we're parents. We're gonna drop a kid off. We're actually gonna let him drive. He's only gonna be 4 hours away, so we'll let him drive. But it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And matter of fact, I've been talking to folks at schools, talked to a president just today of a university, just had some questions. But the fact that she was open to have that conversation with me, and don't know me from diddly, but the fact that she could be one day in charge of his future success, and to take the time out of her schedule to answer my call, I was sold. I was sold. I wouldn't have got that at the University of Missouri. Go Tigers, whatever the case is. I would not have gotten that, for sure. So with that being said, I thank you once again for your conversation, for your truths that you actually shared, and for your, once again, just solidifying it all for me and my family. So, ladies and gentlemen,
just real quick before you end, if there's
Uh-huh.
anybody watching, Morris Brown is coming back. I'm just saying, but if there's anybody watching this or the replay that has questions about their kids going to HBCUs or our specific schools, I'm sure I can speak for everybody on here that we would be more than open and available. Like, I know if somebody was considering Spelman, I'm sure Kim would not mind them reaching out to her.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Love that. And matter of fact, we'll go ahead and retweet that information out for those people who are in the same boat as Robert and myself. I'm trying to make that decision as well. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you, our panelists, for your rich discussion. Thank you guys for being so loyal supporters of the Making Learning Addictive show. We've got another show coming up tomorrow. Up next, we're actually getting part 2 of our Why Hip Hop Belongs in Today's Classroom, especially based off of the halftime show, the best halftime show ever. We're going to be talking a little bit about that because hip hop is a part of American culture. It's in our DNA. So why is it not in our classrooms? All of that tomorrow on Making Learning Addictive. We'll holler at y'all then. It's taking a long time for it to start.